Hi, this is Chris Ball from Mashpee TV with another Mashpee update. Today I have three gentlemen with me from Christ the King Church, but more importantly they're here about the food pantry. The food pantry there has serviced our community, surrounding communities for many years. I'm not going to go too deep into it because I'm going to let the experts here, tell us what it's all about. But they're at this point overcrowded for what they do. They need more space, and they're going to expand what they do to better serve our community at large. And they're going to tell us why, where, how, what, all the stuff we need to know. So I'm going to start by introducing them, and then I'm going to pretty much have them tell you what we're doing. First, I'd like to introduce Father Ed Healy. He's the pastor of Christ the King Church. Thank you for coming, Father.
Thank you for having us, Chris.
Next, I have Deacon, Frank Fantasia. Frank's interfaces with the food pantry at Christ the King Church and sort of heads up and assists Dick Riley over here. Dick is the director of the food pantry, and Frank and Dick work closely together to make it the success it is. So, gentlemen, I'm going to pretty much let you take it, and Father, I'm going to ask you to start it and tell us what it's about.
Well, I was at Christ the King Church earlier in my career and left there in 1999, and I've come back in 2016 to see how this pantry had expanded exponentially. And Dick, between that time, what actually took place? How many are we serving now compared to the earlier days?
I started in 2007, and that year we served 1,273 families, averaging 25 a week. In 2017, we served 3,839 families, averaging 72 families a week. And last year, 5,780 families, averaging 112 families a week. Each family has approximately 3 people, and we try to give them 5 days worth of food for each member of the family. So that adds up to a lot of food. Approximately 7,000 pounds of food a week.
And of course, the pantry's managed really by St. Vincent de Paul, right, Frank?
That's correct. It's actually the Christ the King Parish Food Pantry with a staff provided by St. Vincent de Paul. I'm the president of the organization at the moment, and we have a board of directors, and we run it as any normal business would run. And it's become a big business, as Dick has explained. I think we got a big boost from the pandemic. We used to have the clients park in our parking lot at the church and come in individually into the parish hall, and we'd give them shopping carts so they could collect their food and choose some products from what we call the free table. But when the pandemic came, we weren't able to bring everybody in, and we went more to a drive-up situation where we will bring the food out to their cars. They don't have to get out of their car, and we load it into their trunk or into their back seat, wherever they want the food. So it really changed the logistics of the operation quite a bit during the pandemic. One of the critical aspects of our whole operation is our relationship with the Greater Boston Food Bank. We are able to acquire food, the majority of our food, at a very discounted price. I think the average, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Dick, is about 10 cents on the dollar.
Absolutely.
So
yes.
if we get 5,000 or 6,000 pounds of food a week, the average bill is probably $1,500 or $1,200 in that territory.
Yes.
So you can see that relationship is very key to our existence.
So Frank, let me just jump in here a second. So you said $1,200 a week, so we're talking $50,000+ at 10 cents on the dollar?
Correct.
So if I were to go to Stop and Shop,
Right.
I'm going to spend $500,000?
That's correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a lot of food.
That's a lot of food. It's a lot of money.
Okay,
So that's
I'm
why,
sorry to interrupt.
That's why that relationship is extremely important to us. That's our main supplier. And without them, it would really be a financial struggle.
Yeah, we wouldn't be able to do it really.
So
We're gonna have to have free programs too, run by the state and by the federal government, USDA, and the Massachusetts Food Assistance Program. And that's probably 3/4 of the food we get from the food bank is totally free, supplied by those two organizations. That's why the prices are 10 cents on the dollar, because of the volume we get for free.
And we also get some donations in the
right.
community too. I see the boxes at the bank and
Yes,
at Stop and
Right.
Shop. And,
yep,
so that's helpful too.
absolutely.
But all of this creates the problem that we're presently facing, which is storage.
can I just back up a second though, Father? So whether it's $50,000, $500,000, how does this get funded now?
Well, we have a fund in the parish that our parishioners generously support called the Matthew 25 Fund. So that is the largest funder of what we have to pay for the operation of the food pantry. But the other comes in from donations in the community. Cape Cod 5 is one. New Seabury Women's Club, Mashpee Women's Club, the town of Mashpee, all make contributions because they recognize that this isn't just a church thing, it's something for the whole community to benefit.
I also know like they do homeless for the holidays that the fire and police
Mhm, yes.
department head up, that, you know,
Yes.
do a substantial donation every
Yes.
holiday season. I know like the
Yes,
recreation department does, fill the van around Thanksgiving time. And I know this because we go out and help film them.
Sure.
Otherwise, I wouldn't know. So it's, you know, the majority is funded through the parishioners, even though it's supporting the entire community. But also, there's a lot coming from
the community itself.
itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'd like the Mashpee Commons also helps us with the donations a couple of times a year.
So Dick, if you can, I mean, tell me like, how many pounds of food do you have a year? And, you know, do you have numbers on like yearly totals?
I don't have yearly, 7,000 pounds a week, so that would be what, about
7,000 pounds a week would be
week.
350,000 pounds in a
350,000
year.
pounds, yeah.
Yeah.
17 tons, is that, yeah.
So,
It's amazing how much food we go through.
So, and I know that some people get it delivered at home. There's a way that if you're homebound,
Yes.
that you have families that you deliver at home.
Yes,
I know that there's a number of veterans organizations or veterans that come.
yes,
I also know, and jump in and correct me if I'm wrong here, please.
Nope, you're
I'm
100%
going off
correct, yeah.
just what I know. I know that there's food for pets.
yep,
There's diapers for babies.
Yeah.
You know, so it's all encompassing.
Right.
yep,
So it's just not food. There's a lot of other stuff. And I believe through, you know, your organizations that there's also ways for people to get help with fuel or things like that.
financial
Yeah,
assistance, yes.
that's a separate from the pantry, but also a critical part of what we do. People who have need financial assistance, and we get a donation from Heroes in Transition. That's a restricted donation only to be used for veterans, for housing, car repairs. As you know, housing is a real challenge on the Cape. Some people can, if they can find a house to rent, they need first and last month's rent. Sometimes they can't do that, so we can help them with that. They need to repair their car to go to work. We can help them with that, but that's carried out separately from the pantry, though.
Right. So, Father, if you would, please, tell me, I know that you're trying to do an expansion. Why? And how are you going to go about this?
Well, the why is that, you know, the pantry started once the parish complex was finished in 1989. So it was kind of an afterthought in the sense that, okay, we started with a small pantry giving out a few bags of groceries a week. So there was no particular space for it. But now, with the scale under which we're operating, the pantry storage needs are, you know, taking up our stage, every closet, a third of our parish hall, as well as the janitor's closet, etc. So we really need to house the pantry in a way that's adequate to it. And so what is going to have to happen is we're going to have to renovate some space that we already have for those storage needs, and hopefully eventually bump out the building itself to create a reception area for the pantry clients. So that's what we're planning. We have a plan made. We know that it's going to cost about $2 million in the end. We can start it in a first phase, which won't require that much, and we hope to start on that in the fall. But right now, we have about a third of the total that we will need to complete the whole project.
So you've already raised about 650,000?
Yes, we have, and mainly
Great.
out of our own parishioners. So we're also hoping that we can expand the donors to people in the community who recognize this as a good work that needs to be done in our community, and also some of the local businesses who have been so generous to us already in operating the pantry, that with the parishioners, the businesses, and other people of goodwill in the community, that we can meet this fundraising goal.
Could you do me a favor? Define what you consider community. What is the community that you're impacting?
Yeah, the church itself defines for us the community that Christ the King Parish is supposed to serve. And that's Mashpee, Cotuit, Marston's Mills, and of course, the edges of the towns that surround those. So that is our geographic parish area, and that's primarily the people whom we serve. We never refuse anyone who comes, but we may direct them to a pantry that's closer to them if they're coming from a distance to us. But primarily, that's the area we serve.
So it's definitely not confined to people of the parish.
No.
And it's not confined to just Mashpee.
No.
That is- So, it's impacting, I don't know, you're probably talking 50, 60,000 people. And all the
Truly.
businesses there with them.
Yeah, I bet it is. Yeah.
Nobody gets turned away. I mean, if you need food and you come in, and we'll take care of you, but as Father said, we will direct you to, if you're outside of that geographic designation, we can direct you to another pantry. We have a list of all the pantries on the Cape that participate in this. So,
Could somebody define for me, I heard Father speak of, phases, and starting a phase in the fall. So what's that phase? What's the next phase? What's the final phase? And what window of time are you thinking here?
Well, the first phase is to take what had been anterooms to the stage that, again, a parish library got put in there also as a sort of afterthought. So to take that out, renovate it to create the actual storage area for the pantry, and most importantly, a loading area, because we depend on volunteers. And, volunteers, we don't want to overtax them moving all this supply. So we need a loading dock that's proximate to the storage area. So that's what we'll be working on first. Then we will house our library in that last third of the hall that's presently being used for food pantry storage. And then the final phase will be to actually expand the building for the reception area for the pantry, but also we are very hospitable to a lot of community programs and self-help groups, and sometimes they need a space that isn't as big as the parish hall, but it's much bigger than a classroom. And so we would be able to accommodate them better as well in the future. So it's going to help everyone, really.
So right now, what I think you're saying is that the storage needs of the pantry is taking away the ability to service other programs.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And, and
Yes.
these other programs I know that like the Chamber of Commerce, their La Trovola night sometimes, makes use of that. So it's,
Yeah.
there's,
Scouts, AA, Al-Anon, the Bulgarian school. We host many groups, amongst them. So
so you would be able to better serve.
better serve them.
And,
yeah.
and do more.
Right.
In addition, it also, there's a lot of logistical dynamics that go on setting up and breaking down the pantry. And I think the eventual plan will give us our own space so that when we walk out at noontime on a Wednesday, we can put the key in the door. Now, there's a lot of setup and breaking down
Yes.
of the pantry every Wednesday morning, and when we close it at noontime.
So Frank, you speak of all these, and maybe Dick is better suited to tell us, but whoever, you talk about all these volunteers. How many volunteers are there, and how many hours a week are they working in total? Any number on that?
We have roughly 100 volunteers at any one time, and they all have designated jobs in the pantry. And it's a strain on them with this breaking up and setting up and breaking down every day, and that'll be a big relief to have our own designated area. The other thing, Father mentioned, the logistics of loading and unloading the truck. We pick up our weekly supply of food at the service center in Falmouth with our own truck. And it's usually 6 pallets of food in the truck. When it gets back here, right the present time, we have to unload that one box at a time. We can't remove the pallets from the truck on the pallet.
So you don't have like a dock with a
No,
pallet
no,
jack
we
that
don't,
you're...
no.
As an example, today we got in 6,000 pounds of food, 335 cartons.
Right.
Each carton has to be unloaded by hand
Right, one box at a
and
time.
carried from the truck into the hall, the back of the hall. So there's a lot of labor involved here.
So I see that while you're talking about 100 volunteers, and they're all volunteers.
And they're all older.
volunteers.
That's another problem. They're all older. So that's another issue. So
But-
we're
so-
risking their lives.
So give me a guesstimate. How many hours are they working?
Well, there's a lot of hours, but I think that's an important point because, the donors outside of the parish that really don't have an understanding of really what we do. One of the questions is how much of this donation is going to administration? And the answer is simple, it's zero, because nobody gets paid here. I mean, none of the volunteers get paid. And the other question that's always asked is it any restrictions or denominational considerations? The answer to that is easy too, no. We don't ask that question. We could not give you a breakdown of the backgrounds of the people that come there. We don't ask them their income. We don't ask them where they go to church. We don't ask those questions. So from a donation point of view, rest assured 100% of that goes back into the community for the food pantry as we see fit.
As an example of the hours, you're talking about the hours we work. It's not just Wednesday, the 3 hours on Wednesday. It takes an hour and a half on Wednesday before we open the pantry to get everything ready. And then a good half hour, 45 minutes to close it up. But then we have Tuesday, we have like 20 volunteers on Tuesday to unload the truck, drive to Falmouth, come back. Then Monday through Sunday, we have pickups at all the supermarkets. So we have a group doing that. There's at least 8 or 10 people that just do that. So there's a lot goes on other than just Wednesday.
A lot of gears in the work.
Right.
Yes.
It's a big operation.
Yeah,
I think
it is. It's a lot.
one of the things that what I always do with donors is bring them by on a Wednesday morning just to show them the activity. It's amazing. The cars are lined up around the parking lot.
I've seen it. I've
You've
been
seen
there.
it, and the people
And it runs
running.
smooth.
It runs
It does,
smooth.
it
People
does,
running
yeah.
around. They all know what their job is, and
Yep.
it's poetry in motion. But
Really,
it gets done.
Yeah.
So obviously, this is a big operation.
Right.
You've oiled the gears, you've oiled the works, you changed, you became mobile.
Yeah.
and agile with the pandemic.
Yep.
You refined it. You have a good idea of what your needs are to better serve
Yes.
not only the food pantry, but the public in general by freeing up space. You're looking to raise $2 million to get this done. I mean, it's a wonderful thing. How do I donate?
Well, you can donate online, go to Christ the King website, or we will have a Venmo account that you can donate through. And you can also write a check to CTK Pantry Project and mail it to the parish at P.O. Box 1800, Mashpee, Mass. 02649.
All right, but
So-
you want CTK Pantry
Pantry Project.
Project.
Right.
Yeah.
Again, we don't,
Separate.
it's all separate. It's
Okay.
not to the parish, it's to the Pantry Project.
And every penny of that goes to the
Absolutely.
project,
To the project.
and every penny that is raised for the pantry itself, there's no administration.
No.
No.
It's all strictly donation.
Goes right.
Yep.
You
right.
guys are doing a
Yeah.
wonderful thing, and you've done it for years. I watched it, I donated it to it.
Thank
and,
you.
You know,
It's amazing.
It's
It's amazing.
amazing what you do.
It's
Frank.
amazing that, people don't really have an understanding that there could be this level of food insecurity in our community,
Yeah,
but
like
there
Cape Cod,
is.
Yep.
There really is. And it was a eye-opener to me when I got involved many years ago. You don't see poverty around here like you do in a big city. But it's out there. The need is there. The
Well, it's
need is
definitely there.
Yeah.
So, in closing, any gentlemen have any closing remarks?
Well, I just am impressed with the way that the community already supports this, and they recognize that we as a parish aren't just doing this alone. We can't do it alone. So I have great hopes that with their cooperation, we're going to see this through. Our pantry will be properly housed in terms of storage, and we will be much kinder to our volunteers who don't have to lift and carry 2 times, and we'll be able to do what we're supposed to do, which is to be a blessing to the larger community in a much wider way.
We are, I don't think people realize, we are the only game in town in the communities that we serve. And I think that the generosity of the businesses and the community at large are reflected in that. You don't have to be a parishioner to either volunteer there or to donate there. Or, everybody's welcome. We can use all the hands we can get for volunteers. But we are the only game in town. I think that's why the town steps up to support us too. Both the fire department and the human resources,
Services, yeah.
human services department of the town is very generous to us too.
Well, it's definitely.
Can I add something? Just the feeling you get when you serve these people, when they come to the church and we give them the food, 99% of them are so appreciative of what we're doing for them. And where would they be without our help? So it's so rewarding to get that feeling.
You must sleep good that night.
It does. It makes you feel really good. It does. Yes, I do. Thank you.
Must sleep good. And I know you've all worked hard and long on it. We thank you very much. I thank you very much. The community does. And I think you wrapped it up when you said, it's community. Everybody's out there. Those of us that see it, realize it, and we're looking for support for you.
Thank you.
We
Thank
appreciate
you.
that.
Thank you, Chris.
Very
We
much.
appreciate you guys.
Yes.
And all your volunteers, please express that to them, and
I will.
we'll continue to try to help any way we can.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
I want to thank our guests today for coming in and sharing what they're trying to do with the food pantry at Christ the King Church. And folks, please, they'll appear on the screen ways that you can donate, links to do that. Please do what you can. And this is Chris Ball signing off on another Mashpee update, and we'll see you next time.